finish defending. Police killing criminals. If you want, we can do that. We have no problem with you doing that as well. So, I want you to go ahead and jump right in. We have people. Give me a moment. Wow. All right. We have people coming in right now. So yeah. So Divine, the mic's yours. So basically, you're saying that the police are arresting criminals and it's very problematic. Correct?
That's not what I said.
Why you frame that?
A nice try. I said when you jump the turnstile in New York, it's a desk appearance. It's not a criminal offense. You get a ticket, but they're arresting people. The stop and frisk is back under Mayor Adams. It's happening. Something that was ruled unconstitutional. The police, we have a task force now like it's 1988 out here, and they're going crazy. I get it. You got to do your job, but you cannot break the law and disrespect people. We know that our communities are over policed. This is a fact. And it's over policed by people that don't live in the community. This is also a problem. It's over policed by people who don't have love for the community. Protect and serve. It's called CPR here in New York. Courtesy, professionalism, and respect. And I'm not throwing a blanket over the whole NYPD. There's good cops out there, but there's some bad cops out here. Just recently, there's one in my neighborhood doing exactly what Cindy's guy was talking about, planting evidence, dummy guns, fake guns, stowaway guns, all of that, getting promotions, has a whole team. It's happening. And when we say that it's happening and people sit back and like, oh, that's not true. Ain't not. No, these are people's lived experiences. It is happening. And I'll go back to the father. I'm not justifying what he did. I'm not sympathizing with what he did. But there's a lot of people that understand why he did what he did. Because people are had enough. He lost his son. When did he go out and hit that guy, the cop with his car? Right after viewing the police body cam footage. He saw something that we now can see. He probably felt his son should not be dead. I'm not saying it's right, but I can see why he did what he did. I'll land with that.
I'm voting to convict. I'm voting to convict. Matter of fact, I'm voting to convict. Matter of fact, I'm going to try to be the head of the jury, and I'm going to vote to convict. Period. That's just me. I'm sorry.
So
All
Bart,
right,
I'm sorry.
because what he did. Once again, guys, I know what police officers do in certain communities. I'm well aware. I'm right there. But once again, and once we start killing police officers, once we're killing police officers, where do we stop? So yeah, I'm voting to convict. Maybe where I live, I want to be protected by the police. Okay, it's a very safe neighborhood, but I want I want the police. I definitely need the police. Police, I need the police, and I understand why. And I haven't forgotten. I understand why people feel the way they feel. May feel the way they feel. But if you're saying that you understand why he did, and that's what Divine, that's why I'm coming at you, Divine, because you said I understand why he did what he did. All right. So, one second.
Can
So yeah. So there's some feedback there, but yeah, you said you understand. I don't understand.
can I add to that? So I am from Brooklyn. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Police officers. I know all about turnstiles. I know all about all of that. Have the issues that we have is because our neighborhoods won't even protect themselves. So if our neighborhoods could protect themselves from each other, then the police wouldn't have to come and they wouldn't have an opportunity to come and disrupt and cause havoc and all of those type of things. So I'm really getting to the point where I'm fed up with excusing the bad behavior, acting like no, my child didn't do anything. Your child shouldn't have been in the car. And then retaliating as if this is some sort of street situation that you got going on and running over an innocent person. I can't accept that. I can't be okay with that because that could have been my friend that's a cop or one of my friends that I know that's a cop that got ran over for no reason. We need to police ourselves. and stop committing even the dumbest, pettiest crimes. When I say, if imagine if people didn't commit the crime, they wouldn't be able to come and bother anybody. After a while, they would stop making these assumptions that every black person is a criminal and start to stop and frisk and do all of those type of things. We have a
It's
bunch of spoiled, in what that's the word? Not
okay.
spoiled, entitled 20-something-year-olds running
Okay.
around this world right now, and it shows.
It's
And
Jules.
we gotta stop. I'm
It's
listening.
Jules.
It's
You
Go
Jules.
said
ahead.
You come hard, man.
yeah, yeah, but she
I
full of
want to
shit
agree
too.
with I want to agree with you on the
None of that shit
surface.
made sense.
Yeah, I want
No,
to agree
no.
with
You're
you on the
not gonna
surface,
like
but you go
everything I
too hard.
say,
You
and
go
that's
too hard.
fine.
Well, go
That's
ahead.
fine.
Go,
Now,
go
But you
ahead.
got
Go
to
now,
get to
ahead.
the
all right,
root
real
of it.
quick.
Go
All
ahead.
right, so
Go
so
ahead.
let's get to the root of it, if you want to, if you're
Yes,
ready to go
sir.
here.
Yes,
You said you're
please.
from New York, right?
Yes, I am.
You know Williamsburg. You know
I
you
know
know.
what it used to be. Yes.
Okay, you know what it used to be. So you don't know that mostly Williamsburg is populated by the Jewish community, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm 47
Who?
years old, just to let
Okay,
you know.
phenomenal.
So
No,
I've
no,
lived in
so
it all my
phenomenal.
life.
So
Thank you.
that means both of us should be
Luis,
speaking. Yes.
there's lots of Italians in Williamsburg.
Bay Ridge.
But I
Go
said it's
ahead.
most okay.
That's
So
right.
Borough Park,
Mm-hmm.
Williamsburg, Crown Heights. There
Mm-hmm.
are several pockets of Orthodox Jews and non-Orthodox Jews that
Mm-hmm.
reside specifically in the communities that I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own police.
Yes, sir.
Do you think
Yes,
we
sir.
as a black community are allowed to have our own police?
You know why we can't have our own
Oh, there
police?
you go. Okay. Well,
Because we don't know how to unify amongst each
so
other.
what was the Black Panther Party? Be careful when you say that about our people,
They
like we
yes,
ignorant.
we
Hold on
had a
for a
Black
second.
Panther Party who then disappeared because
Hold,
nobody else wanted to step up and
disappeared. They were
take the
killed by this
lead.
government because
Correct.
they
And
were too
who
strong
and
for working together. Hold on for a second. You do this
go
is this
ahead.
is this is wild work.
Continue. You're gonna
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
me all the
No,
facts, but you're not gonna think about what would have happened had somebody else stepped up and took the
hold
place of
on
the
for a
leaders
second. How
that
you gonna tell me
died.
what I'm gonna say?
Go
I know
ahead.
you do it. I know you 48 years old, but you're not a fortune teller. I can promise you that. My
Continue,
perspective you haven't
sir.
heard yet. My point is
Okay.
this. My
Mm-hmm.
point is this. Do you think the way the Jewish community in New York City and several different pockets of New York City has their own police, meaning the regular NYPD can't even isn't even allowed to mess with them within their community? If it's within their territory, they got that. They're the first responders,
Mm-hmm.
right? Do you think we're allowed to have that in our community since you say we got to police ourselves? We got to do this ourselves. And don't tell me it's because we intellectually inept and don't have the capability or the capacity
Never
to police
said that.
ourselves. So why can't we have our own police the way they do?
Because there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians.
Wow.
Everybody want to be in charge, but nobody want to follow order. If we
Wow.
could
And
unify, you
mostly
can
red.
wow all day long. But if you really think about the facts and the truth at what's wrong with our community is that we don't know how to work together and we don't like getting along and we always gotta it's a bunch of in-house
What
fighting.
what was the civil rights movement if we don't know how to work together?
It worked, but where is it? Where are our leaders? You
You're
can't
killed.
please
Our
stop
We're
please
charismatic
talking about
king.
right
please
now.
Yo, hold.
please stop bringing up issues of things that happened and then no longer happened. If we were talking about civil rights leaders for today, I'm with you all day. But yes, they killed them and then the ones that was left ran and got into politics and got in bed with the others. So until you talk about somebody
Who
who was
is
a
that?
leader like Jesse Jackson, all of those damn not Republicans, all those damn politicians, not many of them do anything for our community, if at all. They give us a lot of lip service, but when it comes to what they're supposed to be doing for us, all of those political parties and all of those the Rainbow Coalition, Jesse Jackson's thing, all of those people, all of those politicians that was running things in the '80s, where are they now? Who did they train up to pass? Who
Millionaires.
did they pass the torch to?
Millionaires.
Who did they pass the torch to continue the movement?
No one.
Like
I could
y'all,
tell
like
you.
you
I could tell
missing
Millionaires.
you
all of that.
something. Wait a
There is
second.
Please
I
go
could tell
ahead.
you
millionaires. There are
Name
something.
them.
millionaires.
Okay,
Name them.
one mic,
Name them.
guys. When did we veer off on this? Because we're talking about Hinton and Tyre Nichols and yeah, just this thing sort of took a left turn somewhere.
I could tell you
Because
where when you start blaming the victim for all of the atrocities that are happening to him and expect and
Wake
supposed
it
to
up.
accept the perspective. She literally told us to blindly believe the police reports these people put out.
I don't recall those words leaving my mouth, but if that's what you
You
heard,
said
hey.
why? You
An
said so now
innocent
we shouldn't. So
officer
now we
died.
shouldn't. She said we shouldn't. So
So we
now we
should
shouldn't believe
never
what they wrote
believe
on
the
their
police
report.
officers. We should never believe police officers because that's what you're basically saying.
I think
Every
proof is necessary
scenario
for
that
all
you,
things.
and that is correct. But every single thing that happens to a minority or a black person, it's the other person's fault. Everything. It's a blanket statement. And I've had this conversation in this room. I've had this conversation in other
With
rooms.
me,
I have these conversations with people that I know. So your rhetoric is not it's not unique.
did
This is
you?
what I
Did
hear
you?
from black
Has she ever heard of
males.
COINTELPRO?
Yeah, I
Have you
swear to
ever heard
God,
of
she didn't.
COINTELPRO?
I love how y'all use all these big words and all these sayings and all of these
No,
things to
I'm
try
saying,
to
have
make
you
a
ever heard
COINTELPRO
of
is an
it?
point. Yes,
organization.
I've
It's not
heard
a.
of it.
Have you ever heard of it?
Yes,
Okay,
I've
so do
heard
you
of
not
it.
know about when we did try to control our communities and did try to police our own communities through groups in our communities, how they came and infiltrated and became disruptors in our own groups?
Did,
Do you not
and
know that
but
one of the main organizations used was the local police? Why are you
so
laughing? If
because
I
of
go
the
to my
fact
computer, I'll
that
send you to bed early.
I don't, it's not that I disagree
So
with
tread
you.
carefully.
It's not that I disagree with you. All of your points are valid, but all you're proving is that those people that allowed them to infiltrate did not stand up for themselves. You're proving my point, actually, because the people that were supposed to control the communities and do that stuff, let those cops and let those police officers infiltrate and take over the neighborhood.
Okay,
So you're
okay. How do you
proving
let
my
somebody when
point.
they bust in? Hold on. How do you let
All right,
somebody when they
man.
bust in your door, kill your leaders,
Buffalo
and put you in
Rich.
jail?
They
How do they
let the
let them
police
do
So
that
in.
so
It's
when they
and
use the
crazy.
this is
power of the law
this is
behind them
this is gonna
to
sound
imprison our
so
leaders?
harsh. This is gonna sound so harsh. So please take it and understand where I'm coming from with it. When one person dies, there still should be 20, 50, 60, 70,000 more to survive and follow and lead. One person does not stop a movement. So why are we allowing them to do so? Our
I'm so
leaders have been
lost on your
murdered.
position, man.
You can be lost
I'm
because you're
completely
thinking on
lost.
a very micro scale. If
You
we
act
are
like our
so
leaders were in their
strong,
60s and 70s. We lost leaders that were in their 20s. What are you talking about?
so what happened to the
They didn't even
people that
have
was
time to
following
train up the
those
next
leaders?
generation.
So,
The next generation was.
but it was a lot of
What are
people
you
marching
talking
though.
about?
It was
Okay.
a lot of people marching though. So where are those people?
Mike, why aren't we talking about Hinton? Why aren't we talking about Nichols?
Because that's such a small part of
Well, I'm
and I
trying to wake
No,
hate
her
to
no,
up,
no.
say
man.
it.
One second, Jules.
Yes.
I was being polite when I said that. I was pretty much saying, get the fuck back on subject. I
Oh,
didn't
that's
need you to
fine. We
tell
can
me.
get on
Okay,
subject.
I didn't need you to tell me why.
Yeah, the
All
We
right.
can get on
goalpost is
subject
like everywhere at this point.
because
Yeah.
that's such a small part of what's really going on. But let's continue with that.
Jules,
Well,
you need to run for office.
I don't hear that much vitriol in your voice for what happened to Tyre Nichols. I mean, here you are talking about defending the police and let's believe the police officers. What about the police officers that beat Tyre Nichols to death? You believe them too?
Okay, refresh me. Who was Tyree Nichols? Because I thought we was talking about the boy and his father. But who was Tyree Nichols? Refresh my memory on that one.
And that's the problem.
Oh,
No,
because you
not
don't want to
Jules.
explain. Give
No,
me
I
5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes since you can't update people that maybe wasn't in the room
No,
5 minutes
Jules,
no,
ago.
no,
Jules, I'm
Jules, no, it's a
agreeing with
problem,
you.
but he agrees
I'm
that
agreeing
the
with you,
fact that you
Jules,
don't know who
because
that
Oh,
is his
thank you.
point.
nobody knows about
Well,
this case. But if it was white cops, everybody would.
but no,
No,
what
That's
we need
cap.
to
no, no,
do,
no,
That's
no,
but
no,
this
no,
cap.
is
no,
the
no, 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 no,
problem.
no, no,
What
no.
we
Hold on,
need
hold on,
to
hold
do
on,
is
hold on, hold on,
educate
hold on,
each
hold on,
other.
hold on, hold on. No, that's not what that proves at all. It proves that she's uninformed on the topic of the room and the top of the page. Has nothing to do with the media,
So she
Scott. So
didn't
stop it.
Google something that the media has it forced
I'm
down
sorry
her
I didn't do
throat
my
like they do
homework before
George
I got
She
here.
Floyd.
It's at
has
the top of the
such an
page.
opinion. She has such an
That's what I'm
opinion on
saying.
the
So she
topic
didn't
that
Google
she's
the name
censored
at the top of the
herself for the
page.
last
Because
15 minutes
you
because
know
she
what?
hasn't had
That's
a
so
chance to
small.
Google
That's
the
so
But we
topic of
were
the
small.
talking
page.
about the other
That's
There's
thing.
so
That
nothing.
was
There's
your
there's
small.
there's
point.
So
nothing.
Jonathan brought up
so
another
One,
topic.
Ma'am,
Jules,
hold on, hold on,
Jules,
hold on,
one
hold
more
on, hold
mic,
on,
guys.
hold on.
One mic, guys. Jules,
Uh,
don't let's not speak when someone else is speaking. That's not what we do here. Go ahead, TC, land, and then she can respond.
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't need to be like gladiators in here, ma'am. You're not running for president of the United States of America. Go do a
listen to
Google
me.
search,
Oh,
come back and when you're informed on the topic, come back. But all I'm saying is what you're saying is in direct contradiction to what we're observing in this room. You've gone on and on and on about how noble police are and how dilapidated and horrible our community is. When you have a prime example of police officers taking their force to a criminal level, well, arguably criminal level, you haven't been informed enough on the topic. So now you need to come back and see us. All I'm saying is this: there are nuance here. There are complexities of vast degrees, and you cannot oversimplify this with a solution of cops good, black people bad. And all I'm saying is, and there's some things I agree with you, and there's some things I disagree with you on. But what I hear you doing is painting with a broad brush, and you're creating a narrative that uh, perpetuates a harmful picture that's been promulgated on our community and is not serving the purposes of justice, equality, or anything noble in doing that. And all I'm saying is, if we're going to be fair and honest, we know that police officers engage in criminal conduct probably more than the people that they police. We know this historically. There's a lot of historical context for that. We know what the FBI has done. We know what law enforcement has done in our communities. We know where a lot of the illicit activity has come from in terms of investigations that's been opened up in police departments. The federal government having to come in. I forget the name of the decree, but basically the federal government having to go in and restructure police departments. The problem is not the community. The problem is the systems that stand up these corrupt organizations to police the community and obscure the illicit activity that's happening behind the shield of law.
But TC, you just painted a fake narrative of what she did not say that the
Thank you,
police
Danny.
are so freaking noble. She's just saying we shouldn't automatically not believe them just because of our dislike, our personal feelings about them.
So
Like, come on now.
non believing them, and a healthy skepticism are two different things. I don't think anybody is on this stage saying any and everything that the police officers say we should completely disbelieve.
Well, that's what it
What I think
sounds
I'm
like.
hearing people say is that there's enough evidence to support a healthy skepticism when a police officer says something and there's not any evidence to support the claim. Those are two different things.
You
Hey,
gotta
hey,
watch.
TC, can somebody give chat the recap of what just happened here?
What
Anyone?
happened?
We trying to educate a sister here. That's what we're doing.
Nah, she's trying to educate y'all.
Oh,
No,
which part? Because
she.
I was able to read what happened about it that happened in January 7th. I was able to go do my research. So I appreciate you for giving me that time with your speech. Very appreciative. So a young man was pulled out of his car and beat up by three black officers. Let's not add that. Let's not forget that fact. So, and they were found not guilty. Outrage, of course. If I was the mother and my child didn't do anything wrong, and my child, because I do have two grown sons, and if they were pulled out of a car and beat, I would absolutely be outraged and I would absolutely be pissed and I would want them to be arrested. So, what I'm saying, because I'm going to make it very clear, because you want to put words in my mouth, is that all I'm hearing from the people that say the police are corrupt is that the police are corrupt, which is a very blanket statement, which means all police are corrupt, regardless of where they are, where they come from, because that's what it sounds like to my ears. So, if
Yeah,
your statement
but that
is all,
mother's
I
child.
didn't finish, but I didn't finish because I let you speak. I let you be quiet. I sat quietly. I did my homework and I came back. So if you can say that all the police department and the police are all corrupt, I surely can say you need to take your time and not assume that all police officers are wrong and all police officers are corrupt. Because what I am hearing from many people is that it doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter how we got here. That young man's life didn't and should not have been taken. And you are absolutely correct. He should have been able to stand his chance and go to court. But if you think about what the training is with police officers, because I have spoken to them, because I have friends who are New York City police officers, they do not tell you to shoot for the leg. They do not tell you to shoot for the arm. They tell you to shoot for the biggest body mass, which is the chest. So in that case, it's a no-win situation. But think about this. If you don't put yourself in that situation as a young man, you won't have to worry about it. Or at least you get to go home and see your parents and live another day.
Sometimes we don't put ourselves in a situation.
But in this
Right.
example, he did. The one that I was talking about
So,
originally, he
so the loss
did.
of his life was warranted. The loss of his life was warranted.
Did I
Do they
say
teach
that?
them to
Did
pull
I
him out
say
of the
that? Did
car
you
and beat
hear
him to
me?
death? Do
Did
they
you
teach them
hear
that?
me? Are we jumping back to the other young man? Because y'all need to stay on, pick a topic, because I'm
Can I ask
confused
a
because it's two
question?
up there. So let me know what we're talking about.
No, you
Did
getting
he
upset
deserve
don't
to be
work on
pulled
me.
out the
You can get
car?
upset with
So let
TC.
me,
That don't work on
and
me.
I'm, man, sir, please, I'm not even worried about you. So if the police officer tells you to get out the car, and that's another thing that we like to do now, we know our rights.
You don't have to get out.
So we don't like to obey when somebody tells you to get out the car. Why not just get out the car? Give the man what he asked for, because you know you ain't
Because
doing nothing
sometimes
wrong,
they can
and go
plant
about
stuff.
your business. Well,
They
sometimes
can
you can
plant
get hit.
stuff.
Sometimes you can get hit by a car,
That's
get
not
by
the
a bus walking
argument.
across
Yes.
the street.
Yes, but
Sometimes.
has there ever been cases where police officers have planted evidence in people's cars?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's
But let
not,
me
but
ask you a question.
how
Have
do we
you,
get all the way to plant? Hold on, before we get to planting of evidence, because you just stepped on your own argument, Carlos. You just stepped all on your own argument. I'm telling you, I'm gonna
What am I
teach y'all
arguing?
debate. No, when you bringing up planting things, her initial point was that he shouldn't be or they shouldn't be doing something wrong. Is that not what she said? That's what she said. You jumped all the way to planting.
No, she was saying you don't put yourself in a situation, but there are instances where we don't put ourselves in any situation. That's any
Full
human
yes.
being,
stop.
and
And
we
so let
still
me,
end
wait,
up on the
wait.
wrong
So
side.
let me ask you a
But
question. So
full
when
stop.
you,
Hold. 1 second, ma'am. Okay, I want to address what you said before we move on because what you said was incorrect. And I mean, any little bit of reading, okay, will tell you otherwise. Okay, it will tell you, and it's not just about race, guys. That's the thing that y'all don't get about policing. It's also class, poverty. It's all of that. It's not just a racial dynamic to poor policing. Like this is what I want y'all to consider. Even in the military, right? Y'all know I'm a veteran. We have to assess who is a threat. What is a threat? What's a level of threat? Police officers are showing up as the trained professionals. So yes, they should be able. If the first thing what they're told they have to do is what? Protect and serve. That's what they should be doing. What part of protection is yanking somebody out of the car and they're unarmed? What part of protection is racial profiling or even class profiling, especially with what's going on with meth and fentanyl, especially in my county? It's not just a color thing, it's also a money thing, it's a poverty thing. So when you say things like that, that means that there's no such thing as an implicit bias. And there is. So I don't understand why you think that 1 plus 1 is always two in incidences with the police. They profile. Do you not believe that they do? And if you're from New York, didn't stop and frisk hurt a certain group of people more than any others? Incarcerate a certain group of people more than any others? Or was that made up?
Well,
oh, you,
statistics
were you
shows they
talking to
stopped
me?
more white people than they did black people,
That's
according to
fair.
their mind.
No, that's
That's
Was
what
fair.
I'm
that
that's what
discussion to
I'm
me?
that's what I'm asking though.
I was just bullshitting with that, just making them happy.
I'm just what's I'm off.
Yeah,
He's
he
always
fucking with.
trolling. I swear, Chad. I said that earlier. Like you just interject and just say things, and it throws the conversation off. Chat
Okay,
made some excellent points, and so did the other woman.
you don't need the
You just
police.
shitted on it with that. Like, ugh. Where the Persian kings
Ugh,
at?
not the Persian kings. You changed. Oh my God. You
And
guys are
the
so.
white kings was cutting up Diana today. I had to leave them alone. Okay, they in rare form. I had to leave them alone today.
The New York Kings is in the building.
Mm-mm.
Nah, hell
No.
no.
Take the Houston Kings with y'all.
Just in
Okay.
case some people in the audience didn't realize, but last year, 2024, officer involved shootings, there were 445 white fellers killed and 277 black people killed.
Where's the outrage?
Where's the
No,
media?
no, you're going to say there's more white people in the country.
Thank
But
you.
where's the
You
media?
have to look up the ratio first, Scott. Not
I
not
know, but
not
let's
by the
talk about
pure
crime.
capita the per capita number.
He just made himself look
Well,
bad.
hold on. If cops are just going around pulling over people to look and shoot and plant guns on, isn't there more white people they could do that to?
That's the point. I never said it was just black people. You
Nobody
want to
did.
make it that
What
so
have we
you can
done this
prove
whole
your
time? I
point.
want to make it that we've done nothing but talk about this in a race
You
related.
didn't hear anything that I said.
Yeah, I'm about to say Chat just came in the room. It's
No,
more
I'm
other
not
people
talking to
that said
chat.
that.
I'm
Yeah,
not.
it's
Where,
That
not
was
you,
not
Chat.
toward
It's not
chat.
you,
where,
This is
Chat.
where's the
towards
Oh,
where's the
Bart.
okay.
where's
This is not towards you.
Oh,
the
And
white outrage?
if I can keep going, to God or divine.
Yeah, where's the white outrage? He just asked you that. Where's the white outrage since you guys are being killed by the police? Y'all don't care?
Because I know for sure when it was Black Lives Matter, I was in Manhattan with 10,000 white folks
You
protesting
know,
about things. So where they at right now on this issue?
where is the black community on the issue? What's going on right now?
They were told they can't enter the courtroom. His own family members. They were like, no,
Did you
cops
see what
only.
happened outside the courtroom? The brawl?
Because they wouldn't let the family in. They would
What,
not
were
let
they
his
fighting with
brother.
each
They
other?
would not let his brother into the courtroom.
There was 20 people fighting, and they're all African American. Was it two families fighting
Yeah,
against
you
each
got to
other?
put some proof of that.
It might
where
be
was
some
that?
confusion on the story because there was another story where there was a court case and there a fight broke out in the courtroom. So I think that might be a different
Oh,
No,
story.
that
It
was the
might be.
Hinton case.
No, yeah, there was two cases that was
I
going on at the same time.
apologize.
Yeah.
No, no, it blurred, so not that's understandable.
I
No,
apologize.
I mean,
it's
if we're
blurred for
saying there's
you.
not
But
a
no, hold on. I
What
just
what
want to
disproportion,
what
go.
what what you want? What you want? Like what you want to talk about? Because you seem to come for me for no reason when you just got here. So what do you
Wait a
want to talk
minute.
about?
Wait a minute. Why your throat so strong? Chill out.
Well,
What you
you the one that
doing?
said no for you. So let's talk
Yeah.
about it.
What about that? Was it? I'm not fighting with you, so
You
you
don't
can
have to
go ahead
fight
and
with
be
me,
mad at
but
somebody
talk
else.
about it and say what you have
I
to
haven't even
say.
been in
Don't
here
make
that
split
long.
all right, let me
You
get.
didn't
comments.
insult
Wait,
All
Hold
right,
on,
you
hold
can
Barth,
on.
go.
hold on,
Ugh.
Barth, hold on.
You
I'm trying to
All
put
right,
us
guys.
back on.
Let's yeah. Guys, we're on a
Wow.
live podcast. We're having a discussion here. All right. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have the discussion. So I don't want to put some trash out there for people to listen to. So I'm gonna go ahead and unmute, and we're gonna get back to the discussion.
Yeah, so
So
I was gonna put us back on track real quick to what Barth was alluding to, the disproportionate numbers of being white people being killed by cops versus black people being killed by cops. One, population. But more importantly, if we're gonna sit here and not act like the justice system is who is that? Hold on one
Blank or
second,
someone on
please.
Clubhouse. Someone on
Hold on,
Clubhouse, mute
Clubhouse.
whoever.
We'll get you in there. Let's get Clubhouse in there. But I'll say this: when we look at the justice system, it's definitely lopsided. When we look at who's in jail, it's lopsided. When we look at the communities that are being over policed, when we look at the face of crime in America, crime is committed everywhere. When you put on the news, who's the poster child? So these are the things that we see and acknowledge, but we're told no, that's not how it is. No, it's not like that. And we need more people to be on board and recognize that yes, there is a problem in this country, and that's where we come from, a place from. And then there's people who just don't want to see it. They're more concerned with assimilating and being American, quote unquote. And in the eyes of some people, you'll never be American because we hear the ideologies coming out of the White House. So with that, I'll pass it. Let's get Clubhouse involved in the conversation, please.
Give me
Whoever
a
that
chance.
was over there, go ahead. You got to speak up.
Love to hear a lady on Clubhouse. Any of the ladies over there want to speak?
well, I finished my point. Um, so the thing about the case and that I don't know if y'all given a synopsis of the case of what happened in the Hinton case.
Go ahead and do it again.
Somebody was talking.
No, I said go ahead, and you can do it again. Do it again. The synopsis.
Chat, we can.
Hello.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you,
Yeah,
brother.
we
Yeah,
hear
we
Chat,
you.
hear you.
We
chat.
hear
You asked about
you.
the synopsis. I told you go ahead and do it again. Is chat there? All right, guys. We must have lost
Yeah,
chat.
got it.
We must have lost chat. All right. Who else was about to jump in? All right. So anyway, the synopsis of the case, guys. You guys know what it is. Basically, um, a kid was allegedly pursued in a stolen vehicle by the police. Got out. This is in Hamilton County, since I think Cincinnati, right? Cincinnati, Ohio, and got out of the car allegedly with a gun. Um, Police chased him behind a dumpster. He ran. He fell. The gun allegedly hit the ground. He picked the gun back up, and he started running again. And he was shot dead. That's how the official report reads. Now, it's supposed to be a clean shooting. That's what they said. The parents went to go look at the shooting. The father viewed the video, and after the father viewed the video, he left viewing the video, went directly out and killed a police officer. Okay, in retaliation for the killing of his son. Now, guys, what you guys didn't see is there was a 50 or more police officers in that courtroom lined up. And only thing they did was stare at the guy to intimidate him. And when the guy walked past him, Mr. Rodney Hinton, he held his head up high, staring back at the police officers. All right. And so it was an intimidation tactic by the police. Uh, I don't blame the police because, once again, I think if you kill a police officer, you cross the line. I think you cross the red line when you kill a police officer. I know some of you guys don't agree with me. You know, when we did the poll, it said, "Do you agree with Luis?" 65% of the people agreed with Luis. 65% of the people agreed with Luis. 35 say they didn't agree with him. So the larger majority of people agreed with Luis, which shocked the hell out of me. Um, because the implications behind that. But that's what was put out there. So once again, Rodney Hinton. I think what happened at his Bell hearing, because the Bell hearing went off. I heard that was a shit show, and also the FOP and everyone complained about the GoFundMe that was put up for him, and GoFundMe shut down the GoFundMe as a result of the complaints. So with that being said, folks, there it is. Anyone wants to jump in? Anyone has anything they want to add?
Hey, I was just going to share one thing as a police officer. Um, I worked in. I'm retired. I worked in Baltimore as a cop, and I hear
Did
a
you
lot
work
of
during
it.
that? Did you work down there during that time, that big corruption case?
The was it? Are you talking about Freddie Gray? Oh, you're
No,
talking
the other
about the
one.
the
The other
weapons. The
one.
weapons. No, I was already gone. I was gone right before Freddie Gray, which was 2015.
No,
You're
I'm talking
talking
about
about
the
the
one guy
weapons.
the one guy that turned on all of them. The one cop that turned on all of them in
No,
Baltimore.
yeah, I wasn't involved with that. And that guy, I do know who you're talking about, and he was on the
His
east side.
name's
I worked.
Christopher Dorner.
No, Durner was in California.
Oh, okay.
Durner's a whole separate
No,
thing.
this guy actually turned on them, on the police.
Yeah, he ratted the unit out. That was they were confiscating weapons and then reselling them. I think even drugs. There's obviously a lot of money involved. But what I was going to say is I hear a lot about the black and white and the attack on the black people and I hear all that. I understand all that. But I will say, when I was working, I would spend my shift helping and working alongside 20 to 25, sometimes 30 different black residents of Baltimore in different situations for every one bad guy that I came across or arrest that I made. So, as a white male, I was literally in the streets of Baltimore helping. people with their issues, coming alongside them, helping in traffic accidents, first aid CPR, first on the scene during crashes and giving people CPR. And then on the flip side of that, just a little bit of context, I also was involved in a shooting where I killed a black guy. So that changes everything. And in all honesty, just let me finish. In all honesty, I he was shooting at me and I was shooting at him. It wouldn't have mattered what color he was. To him, it wouldn't have mattered what color I was. So whether I was a black officer, white officer, I was an officer. He was a suspect involved in a crime, and I was involved in a shooting. And at the end of the day, it sucks that that had to happen. But I just wanted to take color out of it for a minute because I serve the city of Baltimore, the kids, the youth, the residents, and the adults that live there. My grandparents grew up there, and and then also in a way I served the city of Baltimore. And what I did, that guy actually he carjacked a other black resident of Baltimore, shot him, and and then when I came up on the car, he bailed out of the car and we engaged in a shooting. And again, I just want to take the race part out of it. Some of you guys get fired up on that, which I totally understand. But in that situation, whether he was white, black, brown, Asian, or whether I was white, black, brown, Asian, it was going to go down. It had nothing to do with race. It had everything to do with the circumstance of what happened. And just wanted to share that.
Good stuff there.
What do you
Now
say
I
when
got
you
a
hear?
question for you. Um,
Oh,
Throwdown guns. Are you familiar with those?
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, I mean, in terms of if there was a bad shooting, let's say a good cop had a bad shooting, maybe out of fear, because guys, once again, you- I know people aren't going to understand this. Shit happens. Okay. Someone makes a mistake. They think they see something that they didn't see, and they respond because maybe a month ago or a year ago, someone was killed by not responding. Okay. Um, and it's a bad shooting. Um, can you explain how that process works, and is it a myth? That because some people here think that throwdown guns are a myth.
It is a running joke in the department. I honestly never came across anybody that carried, and now we carried extra guns. So I carried my firearm on my side, my 40 caliber SIG, and I carried another SIG, a smaller SIG, on my ankle, both registered. Anything we had carried had to be registered by the department we had to qualify with. Now, the joke is that you had another gun on your ankle that wasn't registered, that if you did accidentally get involved in a shooting, that you would, Jonathan's right. You shoot the guy, you're in a back alley, and then you'd throw the gun out and be like, he had a gun. That's why I did it. That's a joke. In my eyes, it's a myth. I am sure it probably has happened before. I can't say for certain. And I can't even say for certain that anybody would carry, again, like think about Baltimore. I would say in the past 25 years, maybe 40 officer involved shootings out of, we would do 280,000 911 calls a year. I mean, that's a lot of like hoping and praying that, oh, just in case I get involved in something that's dirty. So that's why I say it's a myth, because I don't think people are taking the time to carry it around. But there are bad guys that are on the police department, on the force. We let go anywhere from 10 in a department 2000. We let anywhere from 10 to 20 to go, 10 to 20 go for misconduct reasons. Every single year. So you're looking at a percentage of bad actors that are doing bad things. In my eyes, I never came across it. It was a joke. You do see it in movies. I believe it has happened. Never ever saw it happen myself. And again, I wouldn't even see the purpose for it. Most guys go their whole career and never experience what I experienced. And so you wouldn't have the purpose to have a throwdown gun.
Nate, can I ask you a question? The and I appreciate you sharing that story. What do you say to people when you hear stuff like, why couldn't you guys employ more de-escalation tactics, or like when you're in the heat of the moment, like your story, or you hear like, why could you shoot him in the leg or shit like that? Well,
So it's a great. I mean, again, I've got almost the near perfect example. So, um, he bailed out of the car. He's running he's running eastbound on Security Boulevard. Most of you guys know Social Security Administration. So it's a 3-lane road each direction. Very, very busy road. There's cars on the road. We're running down the side of the road in the grass. Well, I was catching up to him and getting so close to him. I had my gun out initially when we pulled the traffic stop, because it was involving an armed carjacking. We knew he had a firearm. So he bails out of the car. He's running. He does not, I do not see a weapon in his hand at all as he's running. I can clearly see him running. I'm catching up to him. I actually go to put my firearm away and pull out my baton. That was pretty common practice. This is before tasers, that you running up to somebody and you would come across the back of their legs or the small of their back. That's how we were trained, with your baton, to start to de-escalate, take a little bit of the fight out of him. And as I'm going to do that, he must have had the gun in the waistband of his pants, where he grabbed it, turned around as he's running. So he's holding his arm is kind of at 6 o'clock, where he's still facing 12 o'clock, running forward, and he's taking shots at me. And I'm within the first, they think the first shot was within 12 feet. Then I dropped to the ground. He took 5 shots, 12 feet to 28 feet. I came up off the ground from a knee. I took my first shot, and they think the first shot hit him in his left hand. He was holding a gun in the right hand. The second shot hit him in his left thigh, and it exited out his thigh. These are Full Metal Jacket rounds. It exited out his left thigh. The third shot came in through the left side of his back and exited out through the right side of it, or right side of his chest. He's still running. So that's 3 shots from a 40 caliber Sig Sauer firearm at less than 28 feet, and he's still running, still shooting at me. Finally, the last shot took him down. That's not always the case how that goes down, but that is exactly how mine went down. I was getting so close to him, just like I had done in every other incident when we had bailouts of cars or I'm chasing guys. Um, I put my firearm away. I start to go hands on. Then I draw my firearm. I shoot him 3 times. He's still running. It wasn't until the fourth shot that it actually took him down.
like it'd be unfair to say, oh, when that all starts, when shots are fired, to be like, well, why didn't the cop just like aim for his leg or something? Like, that's crazy, right? Like when you hear that stuff.
And the crazy thing is, I was aiming. Somebody mentioned it earlier. I was aiming for center mass. That's how I was taught and trained. Because I'm also 6'2", 220 pounds. So, you could shoot me a number of times with a firearm, and unless it pierces a vital organ right away, I'm still coming at you. So anybody, you hear that. My own family had said that back in the day. And yeah, why not shoot him in the arm and shoot him in the leg? Well, it's really hard to hit a moving leg or a moving arm.
Right.
And then also, again, you could shoot me. I mean, you could shoot me multiple times in my arms and legs, and I'm still in the fight. We could be in a shootout, and I'm tourniquet. I'm putting a tourniquet on my leg. I'm still in it. I'm back in the fight. So it's just how we're taught and trained center mass, because you're drawing your firearm, in order to prevent the loss of either your own life or somebody else's life. So that is to take a life. And so you don't take a life by shooting somebody in the elbow or the left knee. It is that center mass.
That was an important part right there. Follow-up question, real quick. Is it true that ex NFL football player Marvin Harrison secretly runs Baltimore?
I would say he's very involved in Philly, and the Philly-Baltimore corridor is that's kind of a funny question, but the Philly-Baltimore, New York I-95 corridor and DC, you can connect that, and then you can connect the cities down in the south as far as drugs and money that flow up and down I-95. He is actually known to be very involved in Philly.
Yeah, when I first heard that, I was like, Marvin Harrison, really? It's like, what? Anyway, sorry. Good stuff, Nate.
Nate, thanks for your service.
Yeah, like I said, I was there to serve and I helped out. I worked alongside a lot of great people. The city of Baltimore, 650,000 people. And again, I think when you look at it as a whole, 10% can influence a culture as a whole. So if 10% of that population is bad, that's 65,000 people. So you're talking that other 585,000 people are awesome, awesome residents of Baltimore, born and raised, working hard, carrying themselves the right way. They want their community safe, and it is those other 65,000 that are ruining it. And it's the
They
same
make
for
more noise,
cops.
right? Yeah.
And you make more noise, and it's the same for cops. Because again, in our department, 2,000 people, and we have during Freddie Gray, you have five, a lieutenant and then four officers, and it makes the whole department look bad. The whole department look bad. And that's where we get carried away by our mindsets of, oh, they're so bad, they're so terrible. It was like during the LA riots. My family and I took a trip. I was 13, I think, maybe I was in middle school, and we took a trip out to. We had already planned a trip to Disneyland. So people were like, "Oh, you shouldn't go out there. There's the riots going on. It's crazy. LA is crazy right now." Well, we flew into LAX. We drove to Anaheim. We stayed for multiple days. Again, Anaheim and South LA are two different worlds, but we went from LAX to Anaheim. I was looking for stuff. I was looking for like these protests and the things burn and and I couldn't even see it. So the mindset was that all of LA was crazy. No, it was a small pocket of LA that was crazy. But in your mind, you're thinking all of LA is burning. It's a huge protest. And we have to be careful to rush to those judgments about everything. Or else every time I pulled a traffic stop, somebody thinks I'm profiling them. And on the flip side, that person thinks this guy's going to plant a gun, plant some drugs, and or kill me. And not that on both sides they happen. They have happened. Somebody plants drugs, guns, and then on the other side, um, somebody might be trying to kill me. They rush out of the car and kill me. But that was only one time ever in all the traffic stops I ever pulled. So if my mind automatically took me to that, now I was very cautious and aware, but if my mind took me to that, I'd be very jaded. And I think that's where tons of guys in my line of work are jaded, afraid,
Jonathan,
hurt,
can
etc.
can I tap in?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just real quick, right? While I understand your subjective experience, we're gonna go down the list real quick, and I'm gonna hit you center mass with these words. In Philadelphia, 2015, Mother Brandon Tate filed a wrongful death lawsuit because of planted evidence making it seem as though he was reaching for a gun when he was shot and killed during a traffic stop. Canton, Massachusetts, 2024, Karen Reed accused of killing her boyfriend and yet framed and by law enforcement officers framing her with evidence. New York City, 2022, federal prosecutors invest allegations that one, a former NYPD officer, planted drugs on individuals. Like I can literally go off a litany of list of examples of planted evidence. So while you say it was a joke, and while your story kind of low key sounded like you were bragging about the kill, I don't know if I'm the only one who saw that. Drop a yes in the chat if you agree.
It's
Um, I, I,
repulsive.
I wish you would have let me go before you if you knew you were going to do that. Like you knew you were going to do that.
what does that mean?
It was premeditated.
You knew you were going to get in his ass because I'm about to get in his ass. Now it's
Sorry,
going to
sorry.
seem
I
like we're teaming
apologize. Let
up
me
on her.
step out of the way. Let me step
No,
out of
no,
the way.
no, 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 no. You
Nah, you
good.
already did it.
Yeah. Like, it's too late now. You're here.
2-on-1.
Sit down now.
No, no, here's the thing. And actually I won't even go there. I'll just ask a question just to invoke some conversation. Why do you think, why do y'all think, and even if you just be honest, why do you think certain people have a distrust for police? As this is for the stage, anyone can answer. And it doesn't have to be black
Because
folks,
of a negative
because it's not just
experience,
black people.
because of a negative experience,
Mhm.
or because of what's perpetuated in the media.
I'm going to say because it's the expectation that they shouldn't be doing any of this. We expect them to not fall into some of the things that what we would say people who don't take oaths fall for. You know, they shouldn't be doing crimes. They shouldn't be treating people poorly. It's the expectation for me that makes it disheartening when even one crime is committed against a citizen on behalf of a police officer.
I think it happens at the home and the people that you hang out with. If your parents teach you horrible racist shit, then chances are you're going to come out as probably a mini me of them. So it starts at home with the people that you're with and with the information that you take in, and probably in a lot of cases, lack of criticality.
Yeah, I got one. I worked with y'all. I trained with y'all, and I know how y'all motherfuckers
Who
think.
is y'all? Who is y'all?
Police officers.
Okay, so what you say now?
I worked with y'all. I worked with police officers. I trained with police officers, and I know how they think. That's why I don't trust them.
But all of them, because we just had a police officer that came and shared a story that was
Mm-mm.
pretty impactful, you know? Did you just say uh-huh to me?
I
Or
said mm-mm.
your turn? Okay, I'll sit in the car.
No. It's not my turn. I just wanted to hear before we go there. I just wanted to hear why people think people would have a problem with the police.
Okay, very cool. I already answered. Somebody else did. Who else? This is a good question.
Chat. Were you here last night, chat? When I think it was, I don't know who it was. It might have been Sir Jude when he mentioned his kid said that thing about she was worried that the police are they here to kill us or whatever.
That's
Uh,
Jotham, not Sir Jude.
Sorry, my bad. I didn't know who it was. My bad. I thought that was wildly eye opening right there. When that's the first thing his child would think. I thought that was insane.
Yeah, it was eye opening. God.
Extremely eye opening.
Mm.
Yeah.
What?
I want to talk about this officer that just spoke, or this
Yeah. I want. Yeah. Go ahead.
retired officer that just spoke. I don't feel like he was bragging. I feel like he was telling his experience, past experience as a police officer, and I appreciate him coming to talk with us because I don't think I don't that probably wasn't easy for him. Um, but I do believe because I've seen it with my own eyes. There are crooked cops. Um, I don't believe that they're all bad, but I will say every single one of them make me nervous, especially when they get behind me and I'm driving. I can't even drive right. But I appreciate you, sir. Thank you for sharing your experience with us.
Hey, and this isn't to add fuel to the fire of cops making you nervous, but guys, cops making me nervous when I get pulled over. And that's part of the whole situation. Um, and I'll just give a little example. Like here, I'll give an example. Actually, I was going to give a different one. I'll give us this other example getting pulled over. So I was leaving my brother's house. This is March 17th, 2024, last year. I was leaving my brother's house, just came to visit him, hanging out with my nephews, my brother and his wife. And I leave their house and I'm driving to the hotel where I'm going to stay in West Baltimore. And then I'm heading to New York to meet up with my wife to celebrate her birthday. So I'm headed down the highway. Again, this is March 17th. That should like key you guys into something, 2024. And I get on the main road and then I jump on that. And then this car's following really close behind me. It's like 10 o'clock at night, really close behind me. I can't really tell. This is just outside of Baltimore. There's not a lot of street lights on even the main road of 140. That's what it's called, which turns into Reisterstown Road, which runs right into the heart of Baltimore. But on this outside of Baltimore, there's not street lights there. So I can't tell what kind of car. And this guy's up on my butt. So then I like switch over to the next lane and then he lights me up. And then he goes to pull me. I'm like, what in the world did I do? And so he comes up to me and says, "Hey, did you have anything to do? Hey, I'm Trooper so Maryland State Police. Trooper so and so, Maryland State Police. I pulled you over. Do you have your license registration?" I said, "Yes, sir. This is a rental car. Here's my license." And then he said, "Well, I noticed you touched the center line. Is there any reason why you went over the center line?" And I haven't explained to him who I am, that retired cop yet. I'm like, "No, I don't really, I don't think I did, but I guess if I did, there's no reason." And he's like, "Well, have you had anything to drink tonight?" And I was like, "Oh." And I said, "Well, sir, I'll just let you know." I said, "I'm actually a retired police officer. I grew up here. I know I just passed the Westminster G Barracks. I was a cop right down at the precinct, right down about 15 minutes down the road. I've actually never had anything to drink in my entire life, never drank a drop of alcohol my entire life. And here's, I can show you my ID, my badge." And he was like, "Oh man, okay, cool." So he just pulled over on St. Patty's Day. Now, I would say it's a good traffic stop because if you touch the yellow line, it's failure to stay right of center. That is a law. So you can use that. Pretextual traffic stop, failure to stay right of center. But I'm sure he was thinking it's 10 o'clock at night on St. Patrick's Day. Any car that I pull over I'm going to find a drunk driver and I'm going to get arrested tonight. And he just pulled over the only guy probably in that whole area who wasn't drinking that night. So, and I have other stories like that.
Mm-mm,
So,
mm-mm,
But I want
mm-mm.
them pulling over drunk
No,
people.
no, because
No more
you're
stories.
so yeah. No more stories. So let me help y'all out. Okay. The reason, since some of you didn't get it, you just think I'm just asking a question arbitrarily. Let me help you. The reason why I ask for more than black folks to say why they would feel nervous or why they feel that why people feel that way with police is so we can understand that this is not something that's made up. Sometimes you have to bring things to the forefront, have people speak it and say it, and have more than one type of person speak it and say it for it to make sense, for it to be understood. And a lot of times, some of y'all aren't black, but as a black person, I'm tired of trying to explain what's in front of your eyes. Tired of it. We know that there are crooked people. I'm a soldier. I was in the army. I was in military intelligence. When the whole Abu Ghraib and all of that stuff, I mean, people still joke with me and say, "Oh, you military intelligence, don't waterboard me." Because of what the very few bad soldiers that did that. Right? The moment I say I'm intel, that's what they say to me. But guess what? That happened. And I can't walk around and act like whatever someone's experience is because it's not my experience. It doesn't happen and it's not valid. And so asking people a question, asking them to maybe try to understand why someone would feel a way may be able to create a little bit of empathy. That may be a stretch or understanding. But too often all we want to do is come in here and fight. And we don't try to get an understanding. So y'all want to troll, have at it, but I just wanted that moment to happen so that people could kind of maybe understand why people tense up when they see the police. There are fathers that have conversations with their sons, black fathers that have conversations with their sons about the police. And I'm not saying that other fathers don't, but I wonder if those conversations that you have with your sons about interactions with the police, if those conversations are the same. Maybe that's where you all can talk. I don't know, but maybe start on common ground and then we can get a better understanding.
Can I give a
Chat.
lesson on what I tell my kid and what he knows right now? Because I am teaching him to drive of what to do if you get pulled over by a cop. I suggest everybody take out notes. The lights go on. Find a safe place to pull over, whatever that feels to you. If you need to drive, if you feel safe driving a mile up the road off a thing, put your flashers on so he knows you're not doing anything. Next thing you do, as soon as you pull over, enough room to have the officer be able to come up to speak with you without impeding traffic. Next thing you do, you roll all your windows down. every single one of them, and you put your hands like this, like that, and then you turn your head and you wait to see for the officer. Oh, before that, go ahead and turn a camera to record. I do that as like told him do that like while you're trying to find a place. Turn your camera record and just turn it somewhere. When he gets to the window, you say good evening or good afternoon, officer. Kind of, it doesn't hurt to start with like some sort of like come out as like the nice guy first. You know, hey, how you doing, officer? He's probably gonna ask, you know what I pulled you over for? And I'll say, I was probably speeding, but this is my wife's car and I usually drive a truck. That's what I usually tell him, would tell him to do. And he'll say, well, oh, but I'll also, I forgot to say, if I'm carrying a firearm, I'll immediately let him know. Officer, as soon as he says whatever he's here for, I'll go, officer, just want to let you know there's a firearm in my glove compartment right there. That interaction, because this is what I've done when I get pulled over. As soon as I say that, you can literally see the guy go from this to this because you built some sort of like, he knows you're now not a threat. Doesn't mean he's not like, not going to be watching you. All right. After that, give him your license, your insurance, and just wait to see what happens when he comes back. And here's the important part, no matter what he comes back and says your ticket's for, or, you know, if for some reason you did break the law, son, and you do have to go to jail, just shut the fuck up. He tells you to, he wants you to do a DUI test, shut the fuck up. I would rather you, son, go deal with whatever this is the next day, or because if you feel that this isn't going your way, it's not going to get better with this guy. But since you're recording and you haven't done anything wrong, or if you have, you know, you're going to have to deal with it the other day, but it's not going to get settled by trying to tell the cop, what the fuck are you pulling me over for? Or fuck you, or, you know, congrats on your first week on the job, rookie. I did that once. It didn't go well. But if you shut the fuck up, go to jail for a night until you can see the judge, because then see what happens from there.
Yeah.
So that's my advice. Hope y'all wrote it down.
So I wanted to ask
Bart,
Chad.
Can I
Yeah,
say
yeah.
something?
That's
One second.
I wanted
Jonathan.
to ask
Yeah,
Chad
one
a
second.
question.
1 second, Jules. Yeah, I told you not to say that in my fucking room, and you go say it in the chat. All right, this
What
is my
did I
last.
say? Oh, that
No,
part? Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
If you do that shit again, I will fucking ban you from this room. I
Okay.
asked you to respect
That's a
the room.
choice.
Okay, excuse me.
I said that's a choice. That's fine.
Of course. All right. See you tomorrow.
All
All
right.
right.
Take care.
Bye.
Can Can I ask Chad? I thought Chad made a good point, and I wanted to have a back and forth with if that's okay. So, Chad, I like the stuff you were saying, and Barth, I agree with what you were saying. I've had this conversation with people before. You know, just even if you don't agree with what's going on, just fucking pull you out of your car, just fucking listen to them. Yes sir, no sir. Yes sir, no man. Turn your car off. Put your hands on the steering wheel. Blah blah blah. I get it, but I think what they're saying is that some cops, you know, you get a dick cop, whatever. Chat. I do like what you were saying, and I wanted to ask you this: do you think it's not okay? I shouldn't use that word. Do you think that it's beneficial if a parent was talking to their child, and we're talking like 10, 12, 10 to 13, preteen ish, or even a freshman in high school, talking to their kids, and they're like, hey, should they, or I'll just put it this way, should they explain to their children that cops are there to protect them, or should they explain to their children that cops are there to hurt them? Well, I shouldn't give you both sides. Do you know what I'm trying to say there, chat? Like, should
Yeah,
they teach?
because
Great question.
yeah, because and I have an uncle that's a police officer. So our conversations were different. Um, and the conversation with the boys in the family were different than the girls. But I do think that if you have a history, or if there's a history of you actually witnessing police officers in a certain way, then that is the bias that you're going to view all officers. So there may be more of an apprehension because historically, or yeah, historically, or you've seen that, right? Like either whether in your community, your neighborhood, whatever that looks like, right? Um, Up until recently, I didn't have a problem seeing police officers as bad. I mean, as good, because I knew more, way more good officers, and my encounters were good. But I'm also a woman, right? Um, and so I do think that that does color how you view authority. I mean, I saw it in the military. I saw people that could not take instruction because they had a problem with authority. But I also knew that that's where that came from, and I approached it differently. And so because of that, right? Like I'm all about being the change and not contributing to it, right? Like I literally, when I was at MHA, we taught de-escalating techniques. I said this earlier, at HPD, right? I don't know if you all have crisis intervention teams, which I don't know why we don't have this, which maybe I should create the curriculum for it, for people of color. But your crisis intervention teams were created for people that were in mental health crisis, because a lot of them were being shot, killed, hurt by police officers who weren't trained to know when someone was in mental health crisis. And so crisis intervention teams, particularly here in Houston, they would show up with, you would have a counselor, some type of mental health counselor. If there was a peer that could come along, you would have like and a social worker. And you had police officers that were trained in de-escalating, and they would all show up on the scene to try to de-escalate the person so that they can be apprehended and go through the process. And so, if we keep ignoring that this is an issue, then something like a CERT team, right, would help. Also, the police departments, we do this in Houston as well, is they recruit police officers from within the neighborhood to try to overcome some of that apprehension, right? Because
They have a tie to the neighborhood.
yeah, it's there, right? So they incentivize some officers in certain neighborhoods, so that they can come from within the neighborhood to build that trust. It's also seeing, more female officers, more officers of color, right? We had some officers that have a whole chic officers that build a whole like group or fraternal order within the police department. So like it should come from within the community, and I think we could bridge that gap. But when you do have a history of police officers treating people a certain way, and it's difficult to overcome, but I do think it's possible.
So
Hey, real quick,
Can I
guys.
answer that, guy?
Yeah, 1 second, guys. Debate the news, folks. For anyone that's here, we have everyone has a voice policy. No one tells any particular group of people or anyone that they're excluded from having a conversation. All right, and then that just doesn't happen here. I will ban your ass from this room. All right, and she's lucky she's not banned. But next time she will be banned. All right, we don't do that shit here. All right, that's why we've been successful on all the other platforms, and that's why the room continues to grow and be viable. All right, we don't shut out anyone's voices here. That's not something we do here. That's not something we go for. That's nothing we stand. All right, we don't try to create echo chambers. We certainly don't try to make ethnic rooms. So once again, this is my only time having this discussion. That young lady, if she ever comes here again, I will block her, ban her, and make sure she never ever fucking see a stage again that I'm a part of. So, and I mean that. Okay, that's the one thing we've never done. All right, create rooms where people aren't able to speak and say people don't have a right to speak in a conversation. Any conversation that we bring up in debate the news, everyone on the stage is able to speak on it respectfully. Alan.
Nate, Nate, I listened to your story, and since I heard your story, I've been very much disturbed. I don't know how to approach it, but the fact that we have police officers that are running out there with 40 caliber bullets, 40 caliber bullets, I don't know how to accept that in a civil society. I mean, what I just heard from your story is that the training that you guys get is not geared towards the escalation. You guys are basically out there to shoot to kill. And that troubles me. You know, that I can't accept that. I find that very eerie. I find that kind of despicable. Okay? The way you narrated that story, thank you for your service. But the way you narrated that story is like the way you took that life, irrespective of the situation. You feel very gloating about it, gives me agita, and it worries me. I don't know if to congratulate you. I didn't read your report, but all the bullets that that boy took from the back, one in the leg wasn't enough, one in the shoulder wasn't enough, and the other one, none from facing you. I haven't read your report, like I said. I can't criticize that. But there is something about that scenario and the way you narrated that story that is very chilling. I rest.
No,
Can I?
Sir Drew, if a police officer pulls their gun out and fires it and discharge it, they need to shoot to kill.
Sir Jude, I want to ask you quick. Let's say that scenario Nate mentioned was happening in your neighborhood, and that kid got shot, had a couple bullet holes in him, and he gets away from Nate, and he knocks on your. Let's say he's in the neighborhood, and he knocks on your door, and you open the door, and the kid's holding the gun. He's got bullet holes in him. He's like, "Yo, the cops are trying to kill me, man. The cops are trying to kill me. Let me in. Let me in. Let me in." Would you let him in?
Hell no. Yeah, the same speculation that you just narrated here was the same speculation that caused the guy the life. That was the
But
same speculation that he, hold on, you spoke. That was the same speculation he said. He could have turned around, he could have done this, he could have done that, but he didn't. But he lost his life. Those kind of speculations is what is wrong with the police training. Just the fact that we have police officers running around in the street with 40 caliber bullets. It shoots you, it tears through your body, it's meant to kill. This is a military style bullet. My brother, that kind of weapon has no place in the civil society. That has no implication of de escalation. That is shoot to kill. And if you think that is good, well, that's what we got.
so if he
Can
kills
I?
him with
Can
a
I?
nine
Can I
millimeter,
say something here? Here, I'm not sure if you heard the same story that I heard, Sir Jude, but I would like 2 nights ago, 2 evenings ago, I was going to a client and I was telling me to a story where a young kid, a 13-year-old, had a BB gun at the side of the road, and as I was driving by, he's loading it up and pointed to my car and fired as I was passing. Right? If that was a cop doing the same thing, he would have been dead. Right? So if the story that I heard Nate said, the guy fired first. It is my life or your life. Whose family is going home? So if I am Nate, I'm firing back, and I'm going to do what I'm trained to do. In
and not
today's,
only that, you can't let the guy run through the community.
there you go. So what are you talking about, Sir Jude? Every day I leave my home, I have a 40 cal. What are you talking about?
Like you're just not happy with the type of gun he killed him with.
Exactly. What if it was a
I,
45 cal?
I
You
have
would be
made
better with a
my
45?
I have made my statement and I stand by my statement. I don't want to argue with you people. You stand where you stand. I have made my statement, bro.
But
Would
but
you agree that being involved in it, because Nate said the guy was involved in an armed robbery, Then he got out of the car. Then he shot at the cops. You would agree that that's a bad strategy? Yes.
My brother, I have lived in different countries. I've traveled a lot of countries, okay? And they are as much peaceful as she can be. And I know what proper policing is. The way we train our police is to take the easy way out. That's the way we train our police. The whole police needs to be overhauled. Retraining has to be done. Okay, we are training our police officers with a military mindset. And that is why you are seeing all these killings. And that is why people are going out there committing crimes, are going out there with zero-sum game. Okay? Violence begets violence. When they go out there and they know what is up against them, that's why you see heightened violence. When we train our police to know how to de-escalate, our police choose any kind of person. They will shoot a crazy person with a gun or with a knife that is actually, scared of them. Okay? If you guys don't see anything wrong with the police training in America, then we have to continue to live in this status quo. I'm done.
My only thing is Nate. I mean, he did what he had to do. Whatever. You got to follow SOP.
You
That's cool,
didn't read
brother.
this.
You
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 didn't
did
read
you
this
did
report.
you know the SOP. Hey, you did what you were supposed to do according to the SOP. That's cool. My only problem with Nate is we had another police officer in here yesterday, and he said the exact opposite of what you said. He said he absolutely see guns being thrown on people, and he said there are a lot of corrupt cops. So you saying that there's 2,000 cops, and out of the 2,000 cops, it's only 10 corrupt? I think your numbers is a little bit off. So I think that was a little disingenuous. But I mean, who am I?
Well,
What
if
do
that
I
guy
know?
saw a gun thrown and didn't say anything, he would also be a corrupt cop.
Well, I don't know if you were here yesterday, Mike. So
No, I
the
said,
cop yesterday said he absolutely knows that cops throw dirty guns on people.
okay.
That's
Well,
what he
I
said.
mean, just to put it like, and here's my exposure. Like, I said, out of 2,000 officers, we have 10 to 20 misconduct terminations per year. And so people were fired for misconduct. I wasn't around them. My squad had 7 with a corporal and a sergeant. My shift had 21 with a lieutenant overseeing the three sergeants and 2 corporals. And that was it. I'm
When you
sorry.
know a
I
cop's
didn't
corrupt,
see
how
it.
does the force view him?
So is it
Yeah,
ten
but see,
twenty
he's
one?
coming
Is
from a
ten
smaller.
20? I mean, is it 1021? Is it 30? Is it 50? Is
I
it?
Oh, he
just
was
I,
saying
explained.
how many people were
Here's two
in.
separate statements. I said 10 to 20 were terminated for misconduct out of a department of 2,000 officers. That's one statement. Then my personal experience is that I worked on a shift of 7 with an additional corporal and a sergeant, a squad of 7 with a shift of 21. So every night I went out on the street with just about 7. In my total shift, there was 21, but sometimes I didn't even come across the rest of those guys on a whole night. So that was my experience. That's my personal experience. So out of a 2,000 member department, I just worked side by side closely with 7, and and then with a group of 21 that were on my shift in my precinct every single day. That's 1% of our department. So when I'm saying I didn't see it, there's a good possibility it does go on. I've heard the myths, I've heard the jokes, but I didn't see it. So I wouldn't say that's disingenuous that I didn't
well,
see it when I'm only around 1% of the department.
well, the better
Mike,
answer would be to
yeah,
say
one
that you
second,
don't
Mike.
know. You don't know. That would be the better answer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Big
but
man,
here's
let
the
me
thing.
just
I
say
got
didn't
I
this.
got a
see it.
question
What's
though.
the
Nate, my
difference between you
problem,
didn't see it?
yeah, and
Like that
your
doesn't even
stories,
make sense. How do you tell somebody to say
I,
they don't know if you
I'm
didn't
with them.
see
I'm with
something you
them.
still don't
I can
know?
rock with you. But my problem is the problem I do have is that the Baltimore Police Department is probably one of the most corrupt in the nation.
Right.
One second, and they have movies, they have television shows, they have series, they have everything about the corruption that take place. Matter of fact, when they talk about the rough rides, okay, with the gentleman that wound up getting killed over the rough rides, that was intentionally done. All right, and so and then you say you hear them joke about the guns, but you never saw it. All right, I just want to put that out there. People aren't joking about something that's not real. They're not joking about it. If it, I mean, there was prevalent if they were able to joke about it, because I wouldn't joke about corruption. I wouldn't joke about illegality. I wouldn't joke about any of that, okay, at all, because I wouldn't want to be stained with that if that's not what we did.
You could
So this is
argue
what,
once it becomes a joke, it's prevalent. Yeah.
yeah. So what I'm saying to you is this right here. You know, when you say that it wasn't prevalent, the Baltimore Police Department has a reputation for being one of the most corrupt, and that's why a lot of shows that forget that director name, the director of The Wire, and all that other stuff. So he does a lot of shows out of Baltimore. Okay, and the Baltimore BPD has been known for that. So you're saying basically the opposite of what the public record's saying. That's all I got to say in the land.
Nate, Nate, I wanted to ask you real quick. When
No,
in
no,
the
no, no. I want to
it,
give Nate a chance to respond because we're
oh,
not
sorry,
palling. Who's that?
I didn't know you wanted. I didn't know you were looking
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
chance.
Mike. Yeah, Mike. Please, when I speak to someone, let's let it breathe. Let someone respond. You don't come
My
at me like
fault. My
that.
fault. My fault. My fault.
But go ahead, mate. Nate. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Nate.
I agree. I agree. I would say definitely, definitely a department that has corruption. I honestly will say I don't know anybody that got charged with planting evidence. Anybody who lost their job for misconduct for planting evidence or planting a weapon on somebody. Straight up being honest, I don't know anybody. I heard about guys, but it's a 2,000 member department. I worked on the West Side my entire life, my entire time I was there. I didn't see half the department ever on the, I would go to an in service training and I would meet tons of new people because I just worked on the West Side. I stayed in one precinct. So I would say that's what there was. When I say a joke, come on, there's humor at every job. You work you work a roofing job, and there's humor in roofing about tying into the top of the roof, or else you're going to fall off. There's humor about stuff. I would just say that was a humor. It's in the movies, it's in TV shows that there's a drop gun, a plant gun. Um, but I am not disingenuous, and that I never saw it. I did not know one individual. Like if you're talking the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, I was not 1 degree away from any individual that was accused of that I knew of. And, but does it happen? Yes, it happens. I know it happens. In all honesty, I have no firsthand, first account information in regards to it happening.
Nate, I respect that, and that's what I'm saying. Definitely, and I believe that 100%. But when I think when you spoke before, you spoke from a point of it doesn't happen. They joke about it, but it doesn't really happen. And so,
Well, I would say again, like in 25 years, there's 40 officer involved shootings in Baltimore. So again, as you can say, oh, it's one of the most corrupt. So 40 officer involved shootings in the past 25 years, right? That's out of 150,000 calls per service per year over the
Mhm.
last 25 years. So when I say it doesn't happen, it didn't happen on mine. It didn't happen on at least 5 to 7 of the others that I have personal account information of what happened with their shooting. So in those cases, I don't. I really like you're talking. So maybe that's 7. I know I would say 5 to 7. So 7 out of 40, and so if you're talking about 33 out of the past 25 years, so there's 33 shootings I did not know about, and out of 150,000 calls per service for year, that is really, really, really minimal, less than 0.001%, and maybe even less than that. And that's what I'm saying. It's not prevalent. It doesn't happen all the time. The glorifying of it in the movies makes it seem like it happens all the time. NYPD has 30,000 officers, and they have I think they have I think they average about 80 officer involved shootings a year. So 30,000 and 80, and how many people planted guns during the shooting? Maybe two. I don't. It doesn't excuse it, but it doesn't happen all the time. That's why I say it's kind of a myth, kind of a joke. I'm sure it happens. It has happened. I just don't know anybody who's been involved in it.
Hey,
Okay, now,
KB,
Oh
one,
my
hey,
one, my guys. So anyway, yeah, but there's a hyper focus on officer involved shootings. Let's talk about Wayne Jenkins and that whole crew. Okay, um, so when you look at and then you have Herschel and all that other. Let's talk about the planting of drugs, the planting of evidence, the manufacturing of evidence. Okay, let's talk about all of that going on. All right, because when we talk about the shootings, the officer involved shootings, that's the height of it all. Okay, that's the pinnacle of it all. But before you get to the pinnacle of it all, let's talk about the rough rides. Let's talk about all those things that happens, you know. And if you guys just put Baltimore police corruption, okay, Google that and see what comes up, okay. All the settlements that comes up for the corruption and everything else. So, when you talk about the 2000 and the 40 something 2000 something department and 40 something shootings in the last whatever, uh that's the pinnacle. There's a lot more that have taken place now. I have a question. No, I'm not gonna ask you that because I'm gonna say, do you, matter of fact, do you know of anyone ever planting evidence, drugs, or anything on anyone? Do you know? I'm not saying have you taken part. Do you know of anyone ever doing that? You don't have to answer that if you don't want to, but I'm asking that question.
you in the Matrix bad.
Oh, you're back on Nate?
Yeah, yeah, I'm back on Nate because
Nate in the Matrix.
we keep talking about officer involved shooting. We're talking about police corruption.
Yeah.
They had that
Yeah.
whole town, the whole TV show on HBO. True story, by the way. We own this town. We own this town. Is what it's called. All right, because the police believe they own this town. That town. The drugs. They took the drugs. They would take the drugs from drug dealers. Then they would go give it to other people to sell it. They had drug dealers working for them. They did all of that. This is all true story, guys. All
You
this is true
mentioned the
story.
Rough Rides. What is the Rough Rides? Quick summary, if you don't mind. Like
Huh?
2 seconds. You mentioned the Rough Rides twice. I'd never heard of that. Just if you don't mind, a quick like 2 seconds.
When, when they put someone in the back of the van, handcuff them, okay, behind their back, and hit the corners hard, hit the turns hard, okay. That's what happened to the young.
Oh, okay.
What's the guy
In any
name that
car.
died? What's the guy name that
Freddie
died?
Gray.
Freddie Gray.
Freddie
Freddie
Gray.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He
Gray.
broke his neck.
Exactly.
Oh, I know. Okay.
So so
So, but
so
once
departmental
again, that's what I'm
policy.
saying. You're a Baltimore police officer, but you don't know about the Rough Rides.
I
We
had
don't
a
call them
question
rough
for Nate.
No, no,
rides.
no,
We call
no.
it brake
One
checking.
second, guys. I'm talking to this gentleman.
We didn't call it rough rides. So that terminology, we called brake checking. We were checking our brakes. That was the terminology.
Well,
Aha.
they,
What would be a reason for it?
Uh if if a suspect was kicking the back of the cage, like trying to lay down and kick the back of the cage. This is in the car, not the van. If he's kicking, spitting through the cage, you might do that. And again, we called it brake checking. And so, but departmental policy is that's why the Freddie Gray thing. I mean, that would have never happened. But any person you put in the car needed to be seat belted in, and they never seat belted them in.
Hey man, Nate. Listen, I get it. Suspect spit this, that, and the third. And I just, you can be honest. You don't have. You can lie to us too. Have you guys ever did that without the suspect doing any of those things? Like, I mean, I guess you're keeping it real, right? So let's just. I mean, I'm just asking.
Sorry.
Me personally, never.
Not you. I didn't.
I
Not you
never
personally.
ever did.
Not you
Oh,
personally. But do you
Oh,
feel? Do
yeah, I
you?
can't speak to that. It's just like the plant the gun thing. I mean,
No, but
again, you're
Nate, but
tied.
that's the thing, right? But Nate, and I'm gonna show you why that's the
Well, hey,
problem, right?
Hey, Marty,
Because
before well, Marty, I want to do this real fast. And Tyler said, Nate, I just Googled Rough Ride. That's all I did, Rough Ride. I didn't put police. I didn't put Baltimore. I didn't put anything. Rough Ride. A rough ride is a form of police brutality in which a handcuffed prisoner is placed in a police van or other patrol vehicle without a seatbelt and is thrown violently as the vehicle is driven erratically.
so, so Nate, I'm gonna
Yeah, we
start
didn't
over,
use that terminology.
right? And yeah, and that's
I mean,
okay,
if I
right?
did,
Because
we did.
Nate, if you guys didn't use the terminology, okay, cool. My point is, and before I start this, I want you to understand
I got that
that
terminology from Baltimore, actually. I got that terminology from Baltimore.
that's listen,
The Freddie Gray
all the same.
case.
It's all the
Yeah,
same.
tomato, tomato. You guys are talking about the same thing, right?
Yeah,
Who,
like look,
who
my
said
point
tomato
is,
tomato? Who
bro.
said that? Who
That
said
was me.
that?
It was Mike. I'm saying Nate. Nate's calling it brake checking.
Yeah,
Jonathan's
yeah,
calling it
yeah,
rough
yeah.
riding.
I know, but this ain't your fucking show.
No,
So
no.
don't
I'm
tomato
saying you guys are
tomato
talking
me.
about the same
Don't
thing.
no, don't tomato tomato me.
What?
Okay?
No.
Don't yeah, meet your fucking mic. Okay,
I'll
don't say
also say, again, I explained to you, I worked on the west side. The west side of Baltimore and the east side of Baltimore, totally different. Different types of people. They speak different languages. You can Google that too. We speak different dialects on the west side and east side of Baltimore. I honestly never heard, and if I heard Rough Rider, I didn't know what somebody was talking about. Maybe they were talking about DMX. I don't know. We called it brake checking. That's
And
it.
that's boom. Thank you. You keep saying you called it brake checking, and this isn't me trying to throw anything on you. Whatever, whatever. My point is to what JB was asking. You know of the instance. Earlier, when you were speaking, you said that if a cop was there in the presence while somebody was planting a gun, they are just as corrupt. So, my point is because I used to be somebody who believed that all cops were corrupt. You know what I'm saying? I have many friends on the force now, some relatives, so I get it, and I understand certain things now. But at the same time, I will always hold every single one of you guys accountable in the realm of, hey, you know about something, you've seen it, but you don't say shit. So that means you're complicit. And I get the backing the blue, the code of honor, the whole nine. I get that shit. But at some point, the same way you said, hey, I've never seen it happen around me, but you know of its existence, right? Now, once again, am I saying that you should be going out there trying to find every officer that's doing it? No. But you know of its existence. Don't, I'm not saying you were intentionally, but don't try to act like it's just a minimal thing, because when if you and any officer or previous officer speaks like that, what happens is, I'm not saying that they are, but what happens is it makes it seem like, it's not that big of a deal. But let me put you on the receiving end of it, and I guarantee you it'll be a much bigger deal. And that's the thing. So it's like you may have never done it. You came from a small department, small town, whatever, a small sector. You only seven guys of a certain amount at night. Cool. But I mean, I don't know your life, I don't know your time, but can you honestly say that through all your time on the force, you never saw something corrupt, and anytime you did, you actually said something about it and made sure you said something about it? And you don't have to answer that right now. And I promise you, I'm not looking for an answer. I really not am looking for an answer. But it's those questions that you got to ask yourself before saying, hey, you know what? This doesn't happen or that doesn't happen. Or like for your words, your exact words were, if an officer is around when something like that is happening, they are just as corrupt. That's why I wanted to bring that up. So I'm not asking you to answer that. I'm not even saying you ever did anything, but just think about that through your
So
whole time.
did you want to? Oh, okay. Did you want to answer, or is that JB?
No,
No.
no, no.
Oh, okay.
I came up.
Rico, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hey
All
guys.
right, on you.
Yeah, no. But Marty actually asked the question that I was gonna ask. Because we been listening to you speak, right? And I'm not trying to come at you any kind of way, but between each story and each time somebody asks you something, then Jonathan asks you something, then Marty asks you something, it kind of changes, or it's like, okay, well, I may have, or it is this, okay, I might have misspoke. And then Marty asked the main question. And He said you don't have the answer, but no, I would like to ask you if you did see corruption or know about it. Would you have said something? Would you say something or actually kind of swept that underneath the rug and looked the other way because the code blue, the cop code, we stick together. That's a real thing. Or because you keep on saying you never heard of anything, but JB, he clearly we all know Baltimore is like has the most corrupt police force. So it's kind of like you never heard of anything really. You never seen anything but everybody else have heard of it. So if you heard of it or seen it, would you say something, or would you just kind of let it just go off by the shoulder and just be like, nah, never mind. That's none of my business. And that's my question to you. Real talk.
I don't
Yeah.
think
Oh, go
I
ahead, honey.
said I'm. Yeah, I was going to say I don't think I said I misspoke or oh, I've been pretty direct about the things that I've shared and my experiences. The one thing that I will say, and I'll talk so candidly with you guys, that's why I jumped in. The one thing I will say is that there used to be a law that in the state of Maryland, odor is possession. Odor is considered possession of marijuana, the odor of marijuana. So if you pulled a traffic stop, this is what guys would do. I saw guys do this. I called them out. I never did this. I did a lot of drug work. I made the largest, it might even still be, but the largest uh, uh, drug bust off a traffic stop, at least cash seizure off a traffic stop. Um, so I did a lot of drug work. But what guys would do is they'd pull up to the car and they would say, huh, I smell weed in here. Why don't you guys step out of the car? And although they didn't smell weed, there was no reason for them to smell weed, but that gave them a search engine to arrest and allowed them to search the car.
I guess the thing,
And that's why certain states have rolled that back.
Nate, I'm gonna tell you something, Nate. Love everything you have to say. I think you're a great guy, but the part that gets everyone is, you know, if if I'm around people all the time for years, decades, I don't know how long you're, 10 years, 5 years, 7 years, whatever, and you saying everyone that you work with was by the book. That's what everyone has a problem with. Because some people do vigilante justice. Some people's like, yeah, I'm gonna get this asshole today, and they get him because the guy's a bad guy. He's doing bad shit, and you just can't catch him. So you decide to can't find a way to catch him. You're saying you never experienced that, and that's possible, but it's just hard to believe in the city of Baltimore that you never saw anything that resembled corruption or irregularities. That's the tough part. That's all. I'll land.
Oh, so I wanted I couldn't. Yeah, yeah. Like I just wish
Man,
it could have hello? Okay. Um, I just wish he could have said, yeah, it happens. I'm just not that cop or I'm not around that or whatever. And I get it, you gotta protect yourself and protect your comrades. But one thing that I wanna two things actually I wanna bring to the floor is y'all remember Sonia Massey? Y'all remember her? She was the lady that was killed. She had a pot of boiling water, and the cop told her to turn the water off. Told her to walk over. She was having a whole conversation with him. Told her to go turn the water off. She was having a conversation with him. She said, "I rebuke you" to him, and he shot her, killed her. Um, th- I don't know if y'all know, and I looked this up because I remember, but what for 6 different police departments in 4 years. Not only that, he was discharged from the military with a bad conduct discharge, a serious misconduct, I'm sorry, discharged from the military. Then he had 2 DUI convictions in 2015 and 2016. He became a police officer in 2020. 2021, another police department. 2021, another police department. 2021 and 22, another police department. 2022 and 23. He's not just bouncing from job to job, y'all, from precinct to precinct. He's had misconduct situations. And what I don't understand is how police officers can say, well, I don't know any bad police officers when they're right in front of you. They're serving alongside you. If I were an officer, I would not want to serve alongside the likes of that. That type of police officer supposed to uphold what? He can't even uphold his damn self. But yet we expect him to go out and protect, serve the community? No. The reason why I bring that up, I'm gonna bring it back to me being in the military, is when we were deployed, and some of y'all know this, y'all know we have the Geneva Convention and we have rules of engagement, right? And depending on, like, I've seen where a child has had a knife or something that looks like it could be a detonator, right? But until we were able to verify what it was, we couldn't move on that as a target, right? And so it seems like we give more credence to enemy combatants than the black men in this country. Because if I'm a veteran, been deployed and everything, I look at how we approached, and y'all know, those of you that been deployed, you know what we have to do in order to consider something a threat, what that level has to look like. And I can't just say, well, he looked like a threat, so I shot him. We will be court-martialed. But police officers can do that to American citizens. Is that not a problem? That's my question. I'm done. Thank you.
Well, I think the addition to that, we went under a lot of sensitivity training as well. We are briefed before we go into the country. I'm not sure. I think one thing that when I was training with the police department was when there was a lack of the sensitivity training. There was not much of that going on. If anything, it was a check in the box. So I'm not sure how it is now, but if anything, that would need to change for these urban communities.
If I may, I have a question based on what Chat just stated. And I don't know if it was a question for me to agree or disagree, but Chat, you made total sense. And when it comes to the black or Jew man, certain pictures could also be painted. You mentioned his record of being terminated from his jobs. I'm a quote unquote black man. I've been fired from almost every job I've had except for one where another black man employed me and I left to go to bigger companies. But with that being said, most people would just say, oh, he's no good. But when in fact, I'm possibly the best person there. Is it that they want to disqualify me and make me look less than? Or is it someone would say that I don't do my duties well?
You're unqualified.
What's he done?
I
Yeah,
didn't get the question.
I
Can you say
don't know
it
what just
again?
happened right
I
there.
was
'Cause
like, huh?
Because I don't know how to pose it to you guys whether I want to disagree with what Chad was saying about the other gentleman and his behavior and his career path, or do I want to sit here and say that I'm being targeted because I'm who I am and that's why I'm being let go, or what?
Well, so those are two different points. One of them I didn't make. He wasn't let go. I mean, I'm sorry, he was let go, but for misconduct, for his own actions. And so my thing is there are certain jobs, certain positions and roles that follow you. right? Y'all fill out job. We fill out job applications before. They ask you about your work history, and what's one of the questions they ask you? Have you been what is it? Terminated unwillingly or forced to leave a position, or however it's been a minute. However you answer that question is asked. You know, that's why they do background checks, right? Because they want to see, right, your conduct or, you know, your work ethic and all of that, right? That's the purpose of that. But this officer was able to go from 6 different police precincts in 4 years. And now there's a woman that's dead because he was allowed to continue to have misconduct, get tapped. I don't even know if they even dealt with it. They probably just made him resign, and he went on over to the next precinct and the next precinct. He shouldn't have been allowed to be in law enforcement, period, because he was dishonorably discharged from the military. So what does that say?
That says a lot. Chat
So,
also with this
huh?
gentleman and the lady that you're speaking about, and when she said I rebuke you, it seems as if he was said, and I don't want to misquote him, but he was like, you don't rebuke him essentially. But did it appear as if she was attempting to throw that boiling hot water on him like he said, or no?
Oh,
I think so.
So that's his claim.
No, we
He's
looked at the
attempting to say she
video
was throwing
several
it.
times from different angles, and no, she did not. Matter of fact, she wouldn't have even been over there if he had not told her to go turn the freaking pot off. He told
It's
her to
like if
go
she
over
it,
there.
that's like if someone would have had a gun in their vehicle. If he wanted to say that hot boiling water was a weapon that she was attempting to use against him, he should have went and turned that pot off. Just as if someone had a gun in their vehicle, he would have went and
Mm-hmm.
retrieved that gun.
Yeah, he sent her over there to turn it off. Why did he do that, Danny?
Why did he tell her to turn it off instead of him turn it off? Who turns off somebody else's stuff in their own house?
Who
That
retrieves some other firearm for them when it's in their possession or
Yeah,
their
but
vehicle?
I think the
No, no,
comparing
no.
it to
Answer
the
my question.
firearms.
No, no, no. Who turns somebody else's stuff
you
off in their
didn't
own
answer
house?
my question though. Mm,
Yeah, I did. Didn't you
no.
ask me why didn't he turn it off? Because it's not his
Why did
house.
no, that's what Charmaine said. Why did
Okay,
he
what's the
tell?
question? I'm sorry.
Why that's all right. Why did he tell her to turn it off? If it could
Because
be
it's
a
her
potential,
house.
if it could be a potential threat, then why did he tell her to turn it off?
Because it's her house.
And then what
So she
should
should
have
turn it off.
happened? Then what should have happened?
She should have turned her off. And I think he
Right?
did, right?
And then he should have told her to come back and have a seat. But he continued to have a conversation with her at the stove, which you said he said that the stove was a threat. So you sent her over there to the threat and then you talked to her while she was at the threat. How is that her fault? How did
The
she throw
threat
water on him?
was no, no, no. The threat wasn't the boiling hot water by itself. The threat was her saying, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," while standing by that boiling pot of hot water. Chat, come on now. It's because she said that he felt like that was a threat. Because you and I both know, and a lot of people in this room, when you say, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," I grew up in the church. A lot of the times they throw holy water at you
Girl,
like you're a bad
no.
spirit. Well, I
Wow.
grew up like that. Well,
Oh,
I grew
I
up
no,
like
I
Wow.
that.
don't know nothing about that. If
They
I
throw
rebuke you,
water
that's
on
a
you. They
no,
throw
it's
water
just a
or holy
statement.
oil, whatever. No, it's
But
not.
you're
There's so much power in
but that's
words, chat.
fine. That's
It's not
fine, but it's
fine.
about no, it is. Even if I take what you say, that I rebuke you in the name of Jesus was a threat. He is the professional in the situation. He literally told her to go to the threat and kept her at the threat. He kept her in front of the so-called thing that he was threatened by. That's like saying, hate to bring the gun, but hey, or I see a knife or a gun over there. I need you to drop it on the floor. Okay, now stand by it, and I'm gonna talk to you while the gun is at your feet. No, that's not what happens. That
Oh,
is not how you neutralize a threat. That's not how that happens. No.
Yesterday Danny was here making a case about police shooting people because they weren't walking around in the streets wearing suits. And
That
this,
is not what I said, Sir
well,
Jude.
everybody that was here,
She said people without suits were degenerates.
I said I'd never seen a guy in a suit. It's not likely for a guy in a suit to be in these situations. And none of y'all could show me a clip of a guy that got shot in the back that was wearing a suit or a hard hat.
But
Stop.
I did
Go
give you a
ahead, Jay.
reference. I did give you a reference who a physical therapist who was murdered by police was actually shred apart. I'll give you that name.
One name.
Okay,
Y'all
that's
always
not
like
one.
y'all always like to use
One
one
is good
example
enough.
to prove a general point.
But no,
But
it's to prove the
it's
point
not happening as a lot, is my point. Obviously
okay,
it happens
it's happening.
sometimes.
Period. It's
can I
happening.
Oh
finish my
my
point?
She
gosh.
said
Guess what
you
else is
can't show
happening?
me
Can
one, then you
can I
can't
One,
show me
can I
one
five.
mic
finish?
on Sir Jude. One mic on Sir Jude.
Okay, so that point was made yesterday. Today we are talking about a woman like her, a black lady like her in her own house that got killed by the police, and she's still justifying it. So I said, let me look around a little bit, and I looked on her profile. One of the pictures that I saw there that she is with people are three black men, and none of them were in suits. So, Danny, I'm asking you, do you know that some of those your friends that you were in your Instagram pictures that weren't wearing suits, that they are all subjected to being shot by your
No, it's
own?
not
No,
unfair at all.
no.
No.
Okay. So if we are so inclined with the people with police justifying police shooting people because they weren't walking around with suits, and you're hanging around people that don't even wear suits, they're wearing hoodies and they're wearing t-shirts. Do you see the kind of hypocrisy in your own line of thought?
Nope.
No. Okay. Then you showed me the kind of person you are. I'm done. Done with you.
Yeah. I use logic and I know what I said yesterday. Clearly you don't. Y'all like
Stack
to
right there, maybe. One
what?
Well,
second.
yeah, can you repeat
What?
what you said yesterday for the
yo,
people in
the
the room?
guy, man, you
We
got
don't
a
need a
hot
fire
mic,
while we're here.
man.
Right.
No, that's not me.
No, it's not the God, it's someone else.
Okay.
I'm about to clap them cheeks.
Away from your hot steaming water. Away from the hot steaming water? Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. You better not. I swear to God, I'll you straight your face. Okay, I'm sorry. Drop the pot. Drop the pot.
So she picked up the pot?
She never picked up the pot.
She never even.
I'm
Jesus
asking.
Christ.
I can't see the
Oh,
video.
drop down and
He said
drop
drop the
down,
pot like
and
she
I
picked
can
it up.
and we'll bring y'all back up.
Stack right there, maybe. One second.
Drop down and get your eagle on, girl.
Baby girl.
Take on her. Let me get this. No, we don't need a fire while we're here. Right. Right. Let me see. Okay. Where you going? Huh? Where you going? Away from your hot steaming water. Away from my hot steaming water? Yeah. Oh, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. You better not. I swear to God, I'll you straight your face. Okay, I'm sorry. Drop the pot. Drop the pot.
The crazy thing about that video is she called them because she felt she was in danger.
So if
Nah,
she felt like she was in danger, she called the cops. Why would she rebuke the cops? Say something like, I rebuke you in the name of
Because
Jesus.
he stated to her, put down the steaming hot water as if he was basically just premeditating the murder.
What? Do y'all just make stuff up as y'all go, huh?
No,
No,
so in that audio clip right there, in that audio clip, there was it sounded like she said where y'all was going because there was like we moving away from that hot pot, we moving away from that pot right there, this that and the third, and she was like, oh well, I
I
rebuke
rebuke
you
you.
in the name of Jesus, and he said what, and then that's when that started, but it wasn't when they were backing off already. And if you could play that again, you'll hear her ask. I don't know her exact words, but it's basically asking them why y'all basically backing up, and that's when they
So that
responded, "We're getting
qualifies her
away from."
saying, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, because they was moving away from that pot. They was premeditating the
Oh,
instance.
I didn't say anything
That's what
about no
we're no, no,
premeditating.
no, no. That's what
Maybe not
somebody else
premeditate.
said.
Maybe not
Yeah,
premeditate, but
premeditated
Yeah,
could be
they,
on a
be
but
church
they,
day,
careful.
but
bro.
they
Be
threw it
very
out. But
picky
they
with
threw it
your
out there.
Can you play
words.
that again?
Well,
Be
they
very
were
picky
picky
with
with
what you
their
say.
words. They were picky with their words to make it a potential threat. That's why they said, "I'm getting away from that hot pot of water."
Because
No. But
a
hold on,
boiling pot
pause
of
right
hot
there.
water
Hold
is a
on,
potential threat.
But Danny,
What?
hold on. Who is that?
What?
Truth?
What?
That's your name. It's Truth that was speaking just now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, bro. No. In regards to, because you're saying they're creating the threat of them backing up from hot water. Cops been in many people's house all the time, this, that, and the third. I even though I don't agree with the shooting, and I want to make that very clear, even though I don't agree with that shooting, I can't sit here and say that them saying we don't want to be near that hot pot or backing up was them using those set words to try to create some form of plot to kill. Like I just don't see how them saying that convinces you that they were setting something up, like they were
That's
plotting,
literally
or
the
they were
definition of
like. I'm
delusion.
just trying to find that correlation. If you can make it for me, please.
There,
Okay,
no, there,
What?
no. I'm gonna
okay.
play
So
it again.
Chat said no.
Yeah, no.
Is Chad? One aspect that they're missing in this video too is what happened
Steaming
afterwards.
water.
Huh? I'm sorry, Sir Jude. What?
You see,
I
one
was
of
just
the
gonna play it again.
yeah, one of the yeah, 1 minute. One of the
Oh,
aspects that
okay.
we are missing from this video too, okay, that is not on this clip, is what happens afterwards. Because the guy was trying to cover up, trying
I
to
was
get the
trying to
other cop.
play it, but you
Okay,
won't let
go
me
ahead.
play it.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Away from your hot steaming water. Away from the hot steaming water? Yeah. Oh, I would rebuke you in the name. Where you going? Huh? Where you going? Away from your hot steaming water. Away from the hot steaming water? Yeah. Oh, I would rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. No, that's where I got to shoot your face. Okay, I'm sorry. Drop the pot. Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired. Drop the pot. Bring emails now. We got a headshot wound to the female. Headshot wound to the female. 1078. I was on. I'm gonna go get my kit. No, she's done. You can go get it, but that's a headshot. Yeah, I'm not. And look, it's 4 feet too. You good? I'm good. You good? Yeah, I'm good. What's up? How's that what you do, man? You good? All right. Well, I mean, what else do we do? I'm not taking hot boiling water to this, and it already reached us. They got a 52 in route.
Why are we watching this trauma porn?
Trauma porn is
Trauma
crazy.
porn.
And then you crack a
Wow.
joke about it. That's
No,
Yeah,
crazy.
that's not
I'm
cool.
very
That's not
serious.
cool.
I'm trying to figure out
Seems like y'all
what's the
laughing though.
argument. No, I'm saying like what's the argument here? I'm trying to figure out.
You're just
No,
watching the video to gain clarity. That's
we're,
all.
we're
Gain
talking
clarity on
about
what?
Oh, what
Go ahead.
happened?
no, we're getting clarity on a woman that doesn't have empathy for a fellow woman that just killed in her own house. That's what we are getting clarity on. The kind of
So, Drew, why
person we
are
are
you
dealing
always
with.
moved to the extreme? No, what are you talking about?
Your
What
position
are
is
you
I'm saying,
talking
I'm
about?
despicable.
saying,
I don't
I'm
have any
saying,
empathy.
I'm
You
saying,
have
but
no empathy at
my thing
all.
is this. My thing is this. This officer is incarcerated for this right now. He's going to trial in October, and this lady's family has been paid $10 million because the city accepted fault in this case.
Yep.
So, like, what would be the argument here? Is what I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, that she was an actual threat because she had the hot water, and
But the
saying
city has
saying
admitted.
I rebuke
Okay,
you is is threat enough to lose your life.
but isn't the city paying $10 million to the family admitting fault?
No,
Yes, they
we
are.
know this. We do know
Oh,
this.
that's kind of crazy.
And
All right.
that's the thing though. Like we how can you just have full trust as a person that sees this, and you can just say the police always acts in good faith?
And he knew he was wrong after he'd done that.
Yeah. And
He was
even
wrong before he done that.
Yeah,
like she was already squatting before he even fired.
absolutely. And afterward, he said, let him bleed, let him die, let her die there. You guys didn't capture that.
Let
Oh
me
yeah,
find
the very
another.
like when they were outside. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
there was a whole nother conversation that he was talking outside.
Absolutely.
I feel like
The
he was
third
He
officer
stopped
that
his
came
partner
in
from going to
last,
go get anything to help her.
I
the
feel like
third
he was
officer
a little scared.
wondered where was the gun? Where was the threat? She only had hot water that she only rebuked him for, and he said, "You better
Yeah.
not."
Yeah. When that third officer
When he said
came,
you better not, he was talking about you better not throw that pot.
Yeah, she wasn't attempting to throw. She just was rebuking him.
I'm
I mean,
telling you,
everything that
she
he's
I'm
thinking what
had,
I was
reading,
look,
thinking.
Danny,
And when you
she had,
what
say,
I'm reading is that she did pick up the pot.
she,
I
Just
can't
bring
find
it in the
any.
thank
tank.
you. Why would he say
Took
put it
off
down if she didn't pick
she
it up?
picked up,
shows
she
that
picked up the
she
If you
pot.
go
direct
see the
her.
slowed down version,
That's,
you can see everything.
I know,
I'm
but
trying
Okay.
either,
to
I mean,
find
we
it.
have to be able to agree either she picked it
that's
up or she didn't.
no,
If
We're
you guys
Diane,
telling
have
you
anything,
she
hold on.
didn't. You the one that said that she
Diane,
didn't. You the
No,
one
no,
Diane,
that's
no.
disagreeing.
No, I didn't. I just
no.
said that
She
everything that
actually
I'm
did, but
reading,
she did not deserve to be shot.
There was
Go
a
back and
No,
choice.
slow
that
down
that's
version.
pot was
correct.
She
not a
received a
threat.
direct
Guys,
order from the
guys,
There was
police
listen.
a
officer to
choice.
remove the pot
There
of
was a
water from the
choice
Hold
of
on,
pot.
weapon.
one mic. There's like
There
three
was,
people talking.
there was a
I feel
choice
like
of weapons that from that officer could have done. He even had cover. He chose to use his
absolutely,
service weapon.
absolutely.
That's correct,
So if an officer
but
gives
we
someone a
still are
direct order
saying
to
that
do
she
something,
didn't. First of all, it's still going to trial, right? But they're saying that she didn't pick up the pot, and she, according to all the records I'm reading, not she did pick up the pot. Nothing is saying that she
When
didn't pick up the pot.
She was dropping the part
It
the
doesn't
first
matter.
time.
You said she didn't
Hold
pick it
on,
up.
hold on. The first time she said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. That was before she took the part. They told
no,
her to remove the part. She said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, took the pot, was bending down, repeated the same, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. While she was dropping the part on the
no,
floor, she
no.
wasn't making any move towards them. She wasn't showing any aggressive sign. She spoke and then she got shot.
I'm not
If-
saying that she did anything
So,
wrong. What I'm
all right
saying
then.
is
So,
that
what's your
when
point?
what I'm
For
saying is
God's
that
sake,
when Danny is up here saying that she picked up the pot or she touched the pot and you guys are telling her that she's wrong, it's you guys who are wrong. That's all I'm saying. With your 1,000 words, you're still wrong.
Thank
No.
you,
But
Zayda.
regardless,
No,
regardless,
Crazy.
she
no,
picked
no.
the
There's
pot.
No,
no,
it's not
stop. There's
regardless. No,
no
it's not
regardless.
regardless if she picked it up or not.
There's
Like,
no
what else are
regardless.
we
This is
talking
what I'm
about?
telling y'all. That and the crazy thing is, I can't believe y'all playing a semantics game right now. He told her to to turn the pot off.
a direct order from a police officer.
He
I
didn't
Yes, I
say
got
know
put it in the
that.
this.
pot.
I got this. She then took the pot, turned the iron off, and put the pot in the sink. Period.
And you can hear the sizzle. You can hear the
And
sizzle when she
nobody's
put it
Right.
in the sink.
disputing that. No
And
one's disputing that.
then I need that to be understood. That's what happened. When he fired, she was already squatting because he drew his weapon. He drew his weapon and pointed it at her, moved up so he could see her squatting on the floor, and shot her in the head. And the shot came from the top of her head. That's where the bullet entered. She
That
was
is
not
not
a
similar.
threat.
He was
Absolutely.
Period.
also
I don't
We
care.
know
I don't
all of
care how
this.
what
statement.
you
We
freaking read.
we
I mean,
covered the story. We know all of this.
No, you obviously don't
No,
know
I
it.
obviously
But what
You
she's
do.
saying
obviously
is what
I
don't.
what the
covered the damn
report is
story.
out.
You well, you covered it
Diana,
incorrectly.
No,
Diana
I
in
didn't.
chat. No,
You
hold on
apparently
one second
did.
because no,
Learn it.
Diana, correct me if I'm
All
wrong,
right,
but
one second, guys. Hold that thought. Hey, guys, welcome to Debate the News. First and foremost, guys, if you guys are listening to us on the podcast, guess what? You guys are lucky. You guys are fortunate because we're going to have a bonus episode. That bonus episode that we have will be coming out later on today. So all you have to do is go and once again, if you have your automatic downloads, that will be there today. If you guys are live in the room, guys, first and foremost, make sure you guys follow the podcast. Follow the podcast, and all you have to do is click the podcast, follow it, and download a few episodes. Show some support. It's only social currency that we request from you guys is that you guys download some of these podcasts. With that being said, CH, you guys are about to experience what we call a hard reset. What's a hard reset? That means the show's not over. We're just getting started. What we're going to do is do a reset. You guys are going to find yourselves in the hallway for about 5 seconds. All you have to do is look for the room, look for the same title. The room will be right back up in 5 seconds. That's all you have to do. In fact, folks, that's going to happen to you right now. All right, so you're going to find yourself in the hallway. Just come right back into the room. Boom.